hungry pecker, I'm hungry pecker, that hungry pecker brew. Go pour yourself a nice cold glass of hungry pecker.
Hey guys, welcome to Hungry Pecker Brewing. I'm excited today to do a little test and a review on a new product that I was happy to discover. I've been wanting something like this for a while. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I only have a few. I did one on how I collect my yeast out of the conical fermenter. And if you remember from the video, I was using this yeast harvester for more beer. And this thing looks really nice. You know, it's a pretty piece to look at. Comes with a lid. This was 150 bucks. And it works great. I'm able to collect the yeast and transfer it over to a jar for storage in my refrigerator. This holds about 300 milliliters of yeast. So if you remember from my video, I would take that and I would dump it into a jar, a sanitized jar, and then I would stick this in my fridge for storage. So this right here, you know, is a couple of those yeast harvesters full. So I would keep having to add to this, you know, to get a good amount of collected yeast. Well, Nor Cal Brewing Solutions came up with what I feel is a superior yeast harvester. It incorporates the mason jar right into the yeast harvester. And this is it right here. All it is a sanitary tri-clamp fitting on top there, and that is incorporated into a lid for the mason jar. It has a gasket, and this is actually an upgraded stainless steel band that I got from Nor Cal Brewing Solutions. So I already have a lot of parts on hand here at the brewery. So the only parts I actually ordered from Nor Cal is just the harvester connector with a gasket. I ordered an extra gasket and this upgraded stainless steel lid for the jar. I already had a mason jar on hand, but this will work on any of the 3-inch wide mouth mason jars. So I'm excited to use this and just get my yeast collected directly in here for storage. But like anything new that I try out, I want to test it out first. So I'm going to hook this thing up to the fermenter. I'm going to fill it full of water, 35 gallons of water, and just let it sit overnight, make sure there's no leaks, and just see how this thing handles the pressure of that volume of liquid on top of it. And I suspect everything's going to be just fine. It looks really well made. And if everything turns out like I hope, I'm going to use it and hook it up on my next brew day. So, again, if you're interested in checking it out, it's Nor Cal Brewing Solutions. These are just the 3 parts that I ordered. But Jay over there, actually, he sells the whole kit that has the tri-clamps, all the gaskets, everything you need. It comes with a jar. So he has the whole kit already put together for you. I already had a bunch of miscellaneous parts and pieces. So I just pieced my own together. So I'm going to get this thing out in the shop, fill it up with water, and we'll do a test on it. I'll show you how to hook it up. Okay, here we are in the Hungry Pecker Brewing shop / brewery. And I'm going to show you guys how to connect the yeast harvester to your conical fermenter. I showed it in one of my videos, but I had a couple guys ask me, you know, if it will fit on their conical. So I'll just go over the basics for guys that are new to the conicals. And I can only speak for the plastic conicals because that's all I have right now. Eventually we're going to get the stainless when we have some money. But all the plastic conicals, most of them come with 2.5-inch bulkhead. So what you're going to need is a valve underneath your conical that has the tri-clamp flange on it. So I had to get an adapter and a reducer that had the tri-clamp flange on it to go to my 1-inch ball valve. I recommend 1 inch or bigger because if you let it sit too long, it can get plugged up with either trub or yeast, and it's just a little easier to flow with a 1 inch or bigger. So you're going to want to get the yeast harvester from Nor Cal Brewing Solutions. They sell the whole kit that has everything you need. But here's what you need. You need the ball valve. You need a tri-clamp. You need a tri-clamp gasket. You need the yeast harvester tri-clamp to mason jar lid adapter. You're going to need the band and a jar, and the gasket as well that I showed a little bit earlier. So Nor Cal Brewing Solutions has a kit already set up with all this stuff that you need, but you can also buy individual parts, and I believe they have the ball valves and everything you need there. So what we're going to do is hook this thing up, and then we're going to do a water test on it. So make sure my jar's on nice and snug here. It's going to seat the O-ring in the little groove. And it's pretty simple. Just put on the tri-clamp and tighten it down. So that's all hooked up. Let's fill it with some water. Okay, there it is, all hooked up. Has water in it. As you can see, no leaks. It's looking good. And this has, I filled the fermenter all the way up, more than all I would ever fill it up with my wort. 35 gallons in there. So I'm going to let this sit overnight and double check it in the morning. Okay, so I have the yeast harvester all hooked up, doing my water test. Everything looks good, no leaks. I'm going to check it again in the morning just to make sure before I actually use it. Planning on having a brew day real soon, next weekend probably. So this yeast harvester with the mason jar in it is going to work out perfect for my situation, the way that I harvest yeast and store it. I store it in mason jars anyways. And the price is right on this thing. Nor Cal Brewing Solutions has the whole kit on there for under 50 bucks, I believe. Might be closer to 40, but they have everything you need, or you could just buy individual parts. This yeast harvester with the 32 ounce mason jar, it's like almost 950 milliliters that it holds, compared to, you know, the $150 More Beer harvester that I have. I love you guys to death, More Beer, but that is an expensive harvester. It's pretty though. You know, that thing holds 300 milliliters. So I would constantly have to transfer that 300 milliliters several times into a mason jar just to get enough yeast gathered for my next brew day. And every time you transfer, I think I mentioned this in the video that I made, you know, you're risking introducing microbes into that yeast. So that's another thing I really like about this, is it's just going to be a closed container. I'm going to harvest all the yeast that I need in one shot. So I'll probably do a trub dump, you know, like 3 or 4 days in, and then I'm just going to leave that thing hooked up and, you know, let the yeast fill it up as it precipitates down to the bottom there, and then I'll close it off and I'll store it in my fridge for my next brew day. Anyhow, I have a couple other videos on Hungry Pecker Brewing YouTube channel, so check those out. These videos are geared more towards the beginning brewer who just might want a little jump start on a couple things that are gonna, you know, streamline your brewing process. So thanks for stopping by Hungry Pecker Brewing. See you on the next one.
Hungry Pecker, Hungry Pecker, that Hungry Pecker brew. Go and pour yourself a nice cold glass of Hungry Pecker.